Into the Spider-Verse recreates Raimi trilogy moments. The opening montage of Into the Spider-Verse humorously recreates iconic moments from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. We get quick animated homages to Tobey Maguire's Spidey, the upside-down kiss from Spider-Man, the train rescue from Spider-Man 2, and even the infamous Bully Maguire jazz dance from Spider-Man 3. Peter even jokes, "We don't talk about that goofy dance," which got a huge laugh from audiences. These visual nods cleverly anchor the animated film to Spider-Man's cinematic history, giving fans a jolt of nostalgia. It's a playful celebration of the Raimi era that shows the filmmakers love the entire Spider-Man lore, seamlessly weaving Tobey's legendary moments into Miles' origin story. The fact that they included the controversial jazz dance shows they're willing to reference everything, even the awkward parts of Spider-Man history. Across the Spider-Verse uses actual Maguire and Garfield footage. During Miguel O'Hara's explanation of canon events, the film briefly shows actual live-action clips of Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man tragedies. We see Andrew Garfield's Peter grieving Captain Stacy, using footage from The Amazing Spider-Man where Gwen's father passes away, and Tobey Maguire's Peter losing Uncle Ben in the 2002 film, along with a quick shot of Tobey's iconic upside-down kiss. These unexpected cameos aren't just fun surprises, they imply that the Raimi and Webb films are part of the Spider-Verse's multiverse canon, lending weight to Miguel's idea that certain tragic events are universal constants for every Spider-Man. It's a thrilling nod that united the animated and live-action Spider-Man worlds in a moment that made fans gasp and cheer in theaters, seeing Tobey and Andrew officially woven into Miles' story. Post-credit scene recreates the pointing meme. The post-credit scene of Into the Spider-Verse is a fan favorite where Miguel O'Hara travels to Earth 67, the world of the 1967 Spider-Man cartoon, and hilariously reenacts the classic pointing Spider-Man meme. The filmmakers recreate the retro cartoon style frame for frame. Miguel appears in the 60s animation, complete with the catchy "Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can" theme song playing, and confronts the original cartoon Spidey. Each points at the other in confusion. They bicker over who pointed first, just like the meme, until the scene cuts out with both still arguing. It's a clever homage that honors one of the internet's favorite Spider-Man jokes, originating from that very 1967 show, while officially pulling the old cartoon into the Spider-Verse. This meta-gag left audiences laughing as the credits rolled, delighted that the movie literally pointed to one of Spidey's earliest on-screen incarnations. If you're enjoying this, like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Anyway. The Spot visits Mrs. Chin's shop from Venom. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse throws in a crossover with Sony's Venom movies. During the Spot's dimension-hopping misadventures, he pops into a live-action universe and finds himself in Mrs. Chin's convenience store, the same shop from Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage. It's a funny beat. The Spot expects the store owner, played by Peggy Lou, to freak out at his polka-dotted appearance, but Mrs. Chin hardly reacts, unfazed by yet another weird creature in her shop. This implies she's used to the likes of Venom and confirms that the Venomverse is one of the many universes connected by the Spider-Verse portals. The cameo is a neat Easter egg for fans of the Venom films and a wink that Sony's spider-related universes share a multiversal link. It's a surreal blend of animation and live action that makes the Spider-Verse feel even bigger. Donald Glover's live-action Prowler cameo, Across the Spider-Verse, includes a brief live-action cameo by Donald Glover, appearing in full costume as an imprisoned Prowler inside the Spider Society headquarters. This is a huge nod to Glover's role in Spider-Man Homecoming, where he played Aaron Davis and mentioned having a nephew in the neighborhood. In the MCU, we never saw Glover suit up, but here we meet a Prowler variant of Aaron Davis, finally paying off that hint. It's a crowd-pleasing Easter egg that bridges the MCU and the Spider-Verse, implying that somewhere in the multiverse, Glover's Aaron did become the Prowler. The cameo is also meta on another level. Years ago, Donald Glover's Spider-Man fandom helped inspire the creation of Miles Morales in the comics. Brian Michael Bendis has said Glover was an inspiration for Miles. Seeing him as Prowler here is a full-circle moment that had fans whooping in theaters. Spectacular Spider-Man's animated Peter makes a cameo. Across the Spider-Verse is a love letter to every Spider-Man incarnation, and fans of the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series got a special treat. During the Spider Society scenes, the Peter Parker from the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon appears, and even gets a speaking line, confirming his place in this multiverse. Voiced again by Josh Keaton, Spectacular Spidey tells Miles, "We know it's hard, but it's the truth," when explaining the burden of canon events. This moment officially canonizes the beloved TV Spidey in the Spider-Verse, which was thrilling for those who grew up with that show between 2008 and 2009. The filmmakers even show a glimpse of that series' Uncle Ben in the canon event montage as a nod. Seeing Spectacular Spider-Man step forward from the crowd, however briefly, was a goosebump-inducing moment that demonstrates how deep the filmmakers went in including the wider Spider-Man family across all media. 1978 Japanese Spider-Man and Leopardon. Even the wild Japanese Spider-Man from 1978, the Toei TV series, has been considered for the Spider-Verse. In that cult favorite show, Spider-Man, known as Takuya Yamashiro, piloted a giant robot named Leopardon. Fans were eager to spot Takuya and Leopardon in the Spider Society crowd, and indeed, the film's producers originally planned to include them in Across the Spider-Verse. Phil Lord revealed that the animated character model for Japanese Spider-Man and Leopardon was completed. They were set to appear, but when Across was split into two parts, their cameo got moved to the next sequel. You can still catch a tiny Easter egg. In Into the Spider-Verse, a drawing of Leopardon appears in Miles' room on his wall, foreshadowing this variant. This deep-cut nod shows how no Spider-Man is too obscure for the Spider-Verse. The prospect of the emissary of hell Spider-Man teaming up with his giant mech in a future film has longtime fans buzzing. Spider-Man Unlimited spotted in the Spider Society. Across the Spider-Verse packs in blink and you miss it cameos, including a shout-out to the short-lived Spider-Man Unlimited animated series from 1999. Eagle-eyed viewers can spot the Spider-Man from Unlimited swinging around Miguel's Spider Society headquarters during the chaos of the big chase. His distinctive suit with the nanotech cape is visible amid the crowd of Spider people trying to wrangle Miles. It's a quick nod that rewards fans of that lesser-known series, confirming that even the obscure 13-episode Spider-Man Unlimited universe has a place in the Spider-Verse. This Easter egg underscores how Across the Spider-Verse acts as an inclusive Spidey celebration. Even iterations that many people might have missed or forgotten are acknowledged as part of the grand web of universes. It's the filmmakers tipping their cap to every Spider-Man era, even the 90s deep cuts that didn't get second seasons. 1994 Spider-Man animated series reference. In the frenzied Spider Society chase of Across the Spider-Verse, there's a subtle nod to the 1994 Spider-Man the Animated Series for sharp-eyed fans. While the actual 90s cartoon Peter Parker doesn't get a clear on-screen cameo, the film includes a clever Easter egg referencing him. At one point, we see that Earth 65's Peter Parker, Gwen Stacy's best friend who turned into the Lizard, is wearing an outfit identical to the one Peter wore in the 1994 animated series. A white polo shirt with blue striping. It's a quick visual gag that implies, in Miles and Gwen's multiverse, the 90s Spidey's fashion sense lives on. Additionally, Across features Video Man, an 80s Amazing Friends villain, popping up as a nod to another vintage show. These background details are easy to miss, but they connect the film to the classic animated series and delight longtime fans who notice the tribute. Miguel's Doctor Strange and That Little Nerd line. At one point in Across the Spider-Verse, Miguel O'Hara pointedly references the events of the MCU. He grumbles about an incident on Earth 199999 involving Doctor Strange and that little nerd back on Earth 199999, who nearly blew a hole in the multiverse. This is a direct wink at Spider-Man No Way Home, where Peter Parker and Doctor Strange messed with a spell and caused multiversal havoc. Miguel's annoyed tone, calling MCU Peter a little nerd, got a big laugh from audiences because it playfully acknowledges Marvel Studios' shenanigans within the Spider-Verse's world. It also settles a tiny debate. The film uses the designation Earth 199999 for the MCU, poking fun at the fact that in No Way Home, they called the MCU Earth 616 incorrectly, which bothered comic book purists. This single line not only connects Sony's Spider-Verse to the broader Marvel multiverse, but it also shows Miguel's grouchy character perfectly. Community clip of Donald Glover in Spider-Man pajamas. Into the Spider-Verse is full of meta details, and one great example is when Miles visits his Uncle Aaron's apartment. On Aaron's TV, playing in the background, is a clip from the sitcom Community, specifically the scene where Donald Glover's character Troy Barnes wakes up wearing Spider-Man pajamas. It's easy to miss, but this Easter egg is absolutely intentional and layered. Donald Glover famously wore those Spidey PJs on Community as a nod to his Spider-Man fandom, which in turn helped inspire the creation of Miles Morales in comics. Brian Michael Bendis has said Glover was an inspiration for Miles. In Homecoming, Glover then played Aaron Davis, name-dropping a nephew, meaning Miles. And years later, he appears as the Prowler in Across the Spider-Verse. So seeing Glover on Uncle Aaron's TV in Into the Spider-Verse is a delightful full-circle wink. It's the filmmakers tipping their hat to a real-world pop culture moment that ended up having huge impact on Spider-Man lore. Lego Spider-Man Dimension nods to the Lego Movie. One of the most charming detours in Across the Spider-Verse is when the story briefly hops over to a Lego universe. In a quick sequence, we see a blocky Lego Daily Bugle with a Lego J. Jonah Jameson yelling, still voiced by J.K. Simmons, and a dutiful Lego Peter Parker who boop-boops his way through a Spider-Man call to Miguel. This entire scene is a playful nod to producers Phil Lord and Chris Miller's roots in the Lego Movie. They actually did it, combining their two most beloved worlds, Lego and Spider-Man, in one shot. The attention to detail is fantastic. The sequence was even animated by a 14-year-old Lego enthusiast, Preston Mutunga, giving it authentic stop-motion style. Miguel deadpanning that Lego Spider-Man is one of our best got a big laugh. For fans, it's a double Easter egg. Not only is it a faithful homage to the Lego Movie aesthetic, but it's also a reminder that Lord and Miller's fingerprints are all over the Spider-Verse. J.K. Simmons' J. Jonah Jameson is a constant. J. Jonah Jameson is perhaps the only character who transcends universes with the same actor every time. J.K. Simmons first cemented the role in Raimi's Spider-Man in 2002, then shockingly returned as a new version Jameson in the MCU with Far From Home and No Way Home. And he's also present in the Spider-Verse films, always as a ranting newsman with Simmons' unmistakable voice. In both Into and Across the Spider-Verse, whenever a news broadcast or announcement is heard, J.K. Simmons is voicing JJJ, just as he does in live action. For example, in Across, the 2099 universe's news and even the Lego universe's bugle have Simmons barking about Spider-Man. This running Easter egg humorously suggests that across the multiverse, J. Jonah Jameson is a fixed constant, always the same loud, cigar-chomping menace to Spider-Man, no matter the dimension. It's a treat for fans because Simmons is Jameson to so many of us. Stan Lee's heartfelt cameo and legacy. Stan Lee's customary cameo in Into the Spider-Verse is especially poignant. In Miles' moment of need, after his universe's Spider-Man passes away, Stan appears as a kind old shopkeeper who sells Miles a Spider-Man costume. He somberly says, "I'm really gonna miss him," referring to the fallen Peter, and it hits with meta resonance. The film was released not long after Stan Lee's own passing in 2018, so that line felt like Stan bidding farewell to the hero he co-created on screen, and maybe even to himself. It's a short scene, but extremely moving. Stan Lee hands Miles the mantle in a way, reminding us that Spider-Man lives on through anyone brave enough to wear the mask. For longtime fans, the cameo was doubly emotional. Not only was it a tribute to Spider-Man's creator, continuing Stan's tradition of cameos in every Marvel film, but it also fit perfectly into the story's theme of heroism being for everyone. The animators even have him say with a knowing smile that the costume always fits, eventually. Electro's "Thought You'd Be Black" line. In Spider-Man No Way Home, there's a funny and significant moment toward the end of the big battle. When Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is talking to the defeated Electro, played by Jamie Foxx, Electro admits, "I really thought you'd be black," and then muses that somewhere out there must be a black Spider-Man. This is a clear wink to Miles Morales. It breaks the fourth wall a bit because the audience knows Miles exists from the comics and Into the Spider-Verse, even though the MCU hadn't introduced him yet. The line works as a light joke. Andrew's Peter apologizes and Max Dillon says, "No need, there's got to be a black Spider-Man out there somewhere." But it's really an Easter egg planting the idea of Miles in the movie's universe. Fans were thrilled to hear that acknowledgement. It was the first time a live-action Spider-Man film explicitly referenced Miles Morales, and it seemed to confirm that Miles is out there in the multiverse or future of the MCU. Homecoming's Aaron Davis' "I Got a Nephew," a subtle Easter egg in Spider-Man Homecoming, set the stage for Miles Morales years before he ever appeared. In a brief scene, Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, confronts a criminal named Aaron Davis, and Aaron mentions, "I got a nephew who lives here," as a reason he doesn't want dangerous weapons in his neighborhood. Marvel fans in the know immediately recognize that nephew as Miles Morales. In the comics, Aaron Davis is the Prowler and Miles' uncle, and this one line of dialogue was a sly confirmation that Miles exists in the MCU. At the time, it was just a cool throwaway reference. Donald Glover's casting was itself a meta-nod, given his history with the character. But as the Spider-Verse concept grew in popularity, that little line from Homecoming gained more significance. It was the MCU quietly planting a seed. Now, with Into and Across the Spider-Verse making Miles a star, Aaron's "nephew" remark feels like genuine foreshadowing. From Dusk till Shawn, Billboard, Miles Morales' New York is full of alternate universe pop culture, and one of the funniest background gags in Into the Spider-Verse is a Times Square billboard for a movie called From Dusk Till Shawn. You see it for a split second when Peter B. Parker is explaining how he ended up in Miles's universe, and the camera pans over Times Square with all its fictional ads. From Dusk Till Shawn is a riff on Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead. It references a joke sequel that Wright and Simon Pegg once imagined, where Shawn would battle vampires, a play on From Dusk Till Dawn. The inclusion of this fake poster is more than just a random parody. The filmmakers actually reached out to Edgar Wright for ideas of movies that never got made to populate Miles's world. Co-director Rodney Rothman wanted Miles's universe to feel the same but different from ours. Wright's contribution was this very idea, and they slipped it into the film. For an Edgar Wright or Pegg fan, spotting it is a geeky thrill. Clone College Billboard. Another blink and you miss at Times Square gag in Into the Spider-Verse pays homage to producers Phil Lord and Chris Miller's own past. In Miles's New York, there's a brightly lit poster for Clone College, which eagle-eyed viewers noticed features characters that look like Abe Lincoln and JFK from the cult animated series Clone High. This is a meta Easter egg. In our reality, Clone High, created by Lord and Miller, only had one season. They never made it to college. But in Miles's universe, it was apparently popular enough to spawn a sequel series set in college. The billboard essentially imagines an in-universe Clone High spin-off, complete with Abe Lincoln's face emblazoned as a mascot for the college. Lord and Miller confirmed they slipped this in as a personal nod. They haven't forgotten their roots in animation. This playful poster is a great example of Spider-Verse's layered humor, operating even in the scenery. Clone High was eventually revived years later. Guess Miles's universe called it. Jessica Drew's motorcycle slide homages Akira. Early in Across the Spider-Verse, during Gwen and Jessica Drew's fight against the Vulture at the Guggenheim, observant viewers were treated to a famous bit of anime homage. Spider-Woman, voiced by Issa Rae, zooms in on her motorcycle to help, and at one point she skids the bike sideways in mid-air, striking a pose that is a direct tribute to the iconic Akira slide. In the landmark anime film Akira from 1988, there's a legendary shot of Kaneda power sliding his red bike, and Spider-Verse recreates it with Jessica on her super cool motorcycle. It lasts only a split second, but anyone familiar with Akira likely caught it and had a big grin. The Akira bike slide has been referenced in countless films and shows as a hallmark of slick animation, so seeing Jessica Drew, a pregnant, stylish Spider-Woman, pull it off was extra satisfying. It's a perfect example of Spider-Verse's directors flexing their animation geek credentials. This Easter egg doesn't impact the story at all, it's purely a visual treat. No Way Home's lab pointing gag. The pointing Spider-Man meme made a subtle, live-action appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home. In the lab scene at Midtown High, while Peter 1, played by Tom Holland, Peter 2, played by Tobey Maguire, and Peter 3, played by Andrew Garfield, are figuring out who's Peter, which there's a moment of confusion where they all point at each other. It's staged just like the 1960s cartoon meme image, and the actors and director John Watts deliberately blocked that bit to give us the meme in real life. Andrew Garfield later revealed in an interview that he was the one who suggested, "Guys, we should do the pointing thing here," to sneak the gag in naturally. The result is quick. It's not overly hammy, so some casual viewers didn't even realize it was the meme at first, but for fans, it was immensely satisfying. This comes after Into the Spider-Verse's own post-credits pointing scene, so it felt like No Way Home was tipping its hat to both the classic cartoon and the Spider-Verse's revival of the joke. The Spider-Verse movies prove that Easter eggs aren't just fan service. They're a celebration of Spider-Man's entire history across every medium, honoring everyone who ever wore the mask. If you enjoyed this, I post movie content like this a lot here. I would greatly appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.